Hi, it's Kazuyoshi. Today I'd like to share some experience of speaking with a guy who just sat beside close to me when I was in the plane flying from the Phoenix, Arizona to the Los Angeles, California. Since it's just a 1 hour flight and it's was early in the morning, maybe I was just sleeping, but this person who was sitting beside me was a kind of very friendly American person who talked to me, and we had a nice conversation. And I'm sure we don't have a chance to meet again, but it was so nice, and I'd like to share what we talked. But the conversation started with that. The reason is that we're talking about that with my friend before this uh, recording. If we don't have the smartphone today, that will limit our capability in our life. And this person has forgotten his smartphone in his car, and he has just jumped on the flight. Luckily, today, usually he does not, but today, luckily, he had printed out the ticket, and that was in the back pocket, and only with a piece of paper, of course, with uh, one bag, which was checked in. So only a piece of paper let can enable him to get on the plane. And of course, afterward, he has a tablet in the bag. So kind of once he reached the place, he would be able to do something with the internet. But imagine that if you don't have a smartphone and on the plane, and particularly what I worry about these days, I have always have a backup smartphone when I travel around the world because think about in Singapore or Dubai or wherever, if you don't have a smartphone, it's going to be very problematic because we don't have a map and I don't know where to go. So without that, of course, we can't call Uber, we can't call Uber Eats, or we can't go maybe pay something. So this really became the lifeline for us. But the conversation was open because he forgot his smartphone and he has some worry. But then we moved to talk about the AI thing. So he was around 70, so of course myself being around 50, so our perspective to the AI is different. And he was kind of mentioning clearly that yeah, it's obviously scary thing, but we have to deal with that. And compared to the life we had, particularly those are in ages for 50, 60 or more, we had experienced a huge change since we were kids. So none of us had probably worried about or imagined or maybe dreamed of what our life would be in this 2025. And it was very interesting thing going back and back, talking about the 90s, 70s and 80s and 60s, or kind of 60s, 90s. So we would feel that in the future, it's going to be some change happening. And I always do is that compare with 15 years ago with 15 years from now. So 2025 compared to now, 15 years ago was 2010, which I don't see that much huge change in an average life. We're talking about such kind of things. But from now on, if we add 15 years from now, 2014, I just can't imagine how it will be. The probably the taxis are flying, and obviously the robot cars were increasing in the US. So I've seen a lot driving. This time I rent a car by myself, so I drove, but I was driving side by side with that robot car, and that was quite interesting. And so if you use the ChatGPT or whatever AI, you can easily, quickly summarize necessary information from the any content, like a video or recordings, or even the printed paper. You'll be able to easily extract the necessary information. And now it's going to be something that is make the difference is not only the capability to summarize and understand things, but probably the live communication is going to make a huge difference. So I was talking to my son that's with only 11 and going to be 12 soon, but now for Japanese, it's important to learn English or be able to use English, but now it's going to be much more important about the real-time conversation or communication, because if you use the technology, you can easily read and understand things. It's nice to read, be able to read and write, but those things can be supported by the tools, and the speed and quality will be kind of something that we can't compete. So it's going to be important to be able to do the real-time conversation and communication between human. And maybe that's going to be with the computer, but the human to human communication will be some differentiator. So I'm going back to the original chat with the guy who was speaking with me in the plane. So we had a good conversation skill that enabled us to make the time very fruitful and nice one. And so therefore, I believe the power, because I've been working with the ChatGPT yesterday for the full day, creating some material, which kind of really enabled me to make it great. But and that is one side of the story, and obviously we'll need to have a nice conversation skill together. So, and of course, I know that it just depends on the people whether you want to communicate with people a lot or not. But because the chat GPT, including all the AI will be better and better and better, and therefore I kind of rethinking about recapping the importance of online real-time communication. So that's what I want to say today, and probably it is nice that we start to think about talking to somebody. If you have not spoken to anybody this day, maybe you haven't. So just say hello to somebody and just smile, and it's gonna make your life a little bit better than it is. So hello and nice smile will be added on top of the new AI world. So why not speak with somebody and listen to somebody? That's what I took from this trip, and also the recent activity that I've been involved in. Thank you.